Hey everybody, Chris McClure here. Welcome to Mat 157, section WW7 Statistics here at Des Moines Area Community College. I'm Chris McClure. I'm going to be your instructor this semester. And what I want to do with this video is spend some time going through the syllabus, getting you oriented with my stat lab. That's what it is for statistics classes. And a real quick introduction to Blackboard, just in case you haven't seen it. Now, if you are an old hand at taking online classes, then a lot of this stuff will be pretty routine. So I'll try to keep this fairly short. But you can always contact me if you have any questions. Okay, so let's go through the syllabus. I've already emailed this out to you, and it's also posted on Blackboard. So you should have it up in front of you. I'll just kind of hit the highlights here. Mat 157 is the class. WW7 is the section. The course reference number 31751 is what particularly identifies this class. So if you have to transfer, add, drop, etc., this is what you'll use for this particular class. Here's my name, email address, phone number. This is the phone number for my office. Please don't call my cell phone. You see my email traffic. That's got my cell phone. Please don't call my cell phone unless it's truly an emergency. By the way, here from my office location, it's building 4, room 10B. This 10A is now 10B. So go ahead and make that change on your syllabus. Apologize for that mistake. I didn't realize it till afterwards. Just I think about 6 months ago, there was a renumbering of offices, and I keep forgetting to change my office from 10A to 10B because I had 10A for about 10 years since I've been here. We use Blackboard. Well, I do for the online sections. That's what I use instead of a standalone website. I ran websites for many years, but seeing how DMAC is no longer hosting websites, that's why I'm using Blackboard. I'll show it to you in a few minutes. Alright, so summer 2014. Here's the description of the course, straight from the catalog. In order to be in this class, you need to have some recent experience with algebra. Not too high a level, but you need to be able to deal with things like exponents, a little bit of logarithms. You know, your rules of solving mathematical equations, those sorts of things. Where you see course competencies is just basically a long list of stuff that we expect for you to do or be able to do at the end of the semester. All topics that we're going to talk about. Here's the course overview. I'll let you read that on your own. All this stuff. Good, interesting information about why you should study statistics. Study tips. Now regarding study tips, look, it really comes down to this. If you are not comprehending the material, then you need to do what it takes to get on top of it. Please don't let these things pass you by. If you come across a concept that you don't understand, please do what you have to do in order to understand it, including reaching out to me, and I can explain it to you, or I could point you to some references that I have as well. But the point is that you have to be diligent and stay on top of your studies, okay? That means reading the textbook. Now, look, I get it. Reading textbooks, especially math textbooks, is about as fun as getting a root canal, but that's what you really need to do to understand this material. Diligently read the textbook, do the homework, and then and take advantage. There's a lot of good resources on my stat lab too, which I'll point out here in a few minutes. If you are close to a DMAC campus, any campus, Carroll, Newton, Ankeny, Boone, wherever, you are certainly welcome to pop into any DMAC campus and go to their Academic Achievement Center and also their tutoring. You're eligible for some tutoring at the tutoring office. So look into that. Be proactive. One thing I learned about online classes, I've taught a few online classes now, and I've taken a few graduate courses online as well. You really have to not procrastinate. You have to structure your time and be very diligent about staying on top of your studies, because if you get a little bit behind, it's more difficult and stressful to try to catch back up. So it's easier to stay on top of it. MAT 157 satisfies a bunch of different requirements. For example, if you are going into management, marketing, social science, as in like social studies, criminology, etc. This is that one math class that you can use to satisfy your math requirement for your program. Also, if you just need a generalized math credit, if you're going into liberal arts, this will satisfy it as well. But make sure, though, that you are taking the right class. So if you're not sure, talk with your advisor, okay? I sure hate to see anyone taking coursework that they don't need unless they really don't mind. In fact, they like the challenge and like to study interesting things. So, regarding the textbook, now this is the textbook that is being sold at our bookstore, and the author's name is Triola, Triola. Elementary Statistics Using Excel. Now, I'll tell you right now, we might do a few things in Excel, but primarily we'll be using StatCrunch and the graphing calculator. So the focus of this course certainly is not using Excel spreadsheets. So, now, also you need to make sure that your textbook comes with an access code. If you don't have an access code that came with your textbook, then you can still purchase access directly from the My Math Lab or My Stat Lab website. I'll show you that in a few minutes. You don't need an actual physical textbook. If you are completely comfortable using the electronic textbook, then that already is embedded in the My Stat Lab. So if you just want to purchase access, it costs something like $90 to $95 to purchase access to My Stat Lab. So you'll have the chance or the ability to do your homework and get the animations and videos and other sorts of multimedia, and also the e-text. So depends. Here's what I've got for required materials, and some of this is tongue-in-cheek, but basically it says you need pencil, pen, basic stuff, right? Binders, or a binder to organize your paperwork. You might have to do some graphing by hand. You'll want to use a ruler, so make sure you have some graph paper. You could always print graph paper from the internet as well. Regarding the calculator, I would recommend that you get a TI-84 calculator. You don't have to have one. You can use a TI-30. But these are suggestions right here. If you're going to take a lot more math-based courses in the future, you might want to look at getting a new TI-84 Plus calculator, or even an Inspire calculator. An Inspire, which is a Texas Instruments calculator, looks something like this, if I can get the case open. So yeah, again, I don't want, if this is your only class, your only math class, this is your only math course, I don't want you to go on out and spend a lot of money on just one calculator that you're going to use for one course. Okay, so you have to decide that yourself. But you know, the more high power, the better, I think. So you're not struggling with your calculations too much. Okay. Now regarding the grading structure of the class, it really comes down to homework, quizzes, a midterm exam, and a final exam. All right, the midterm and the final exams will be proctored. The homework and the quizzes will be done online, okay, using MyStatLab. Now, of course, here is the basic structure for awarding letter grades at the end of the semester, as well as figuring your midterm grades. Your midterm grades don't really count for anything except as a way of measuring how you're doing in the course at midterm. I do have a tendency to do some curving at the end of the semester. By the way, August 1st is the date that I promise to have your final grades posted. Regarding office hours, now I can guarantee that I'll be in the office. Hold on, let me go up a little bit. During these times and days, but I am available practically every afternoon, except I tend to be out of here a little bit earlier on Friday afternoon. I usually leave the office by about 3 or 3:30 on Friday afternoon. But if you want to meet with me anytime, look, last summer I chatted with students on, using Skype on Saturdays, Sundays, evenings, early mornings, well past midnight. Now, I can't promise past midnight, but hey, if that's your only opportunity, that's fine. Because I had a student who's a soldier in Afghanistan. That's what I did for her. So unless you're overseas or somewhere, please no after midnight video chats. But if you want, we can Skype. And we can exchange login information. No, not login, but login identities, I should say, later on, if you want to do Skype. But you need to tell me if you want to meet with me. Also, if you need a problem worked out for you, I can work it out on my tablet and save it as a PDF and email it to you as well. So I'm pretty flexible with office hours. Just let me know and we'll set something up. Regarding homework, we use MyStatLab. And if you've ever done an online homework before for math, it probably was with WebAssign or YLE Plus or MyMathLab. Well, MyStatLab is just like MyMathLab, except of course it's for statistics. Let me kind of go off a side trail and show you about your homework. I see that about a lot of you, probably 10 of you at least, have already gotten established with MyStatLab, but I'm going to show you anyway. If you go to the end of the document here, I've included instructions on how to get registered with MyStatLab. Now right here is the course ID. We will not include the comma. Here's the course ID. You'll need that. And then we can click on this link. And it'll take you to the site. I recommend that you bookmark it right now. Now, if you haven't not yet registered for the course, then you click on here for register as a student. In this page, they're going to tell you that you need an email. Well, by virtue of the fact that you are an enrolled student here at DMAC, you have an email. Use your DMAC email. You have course ID. I just showed it to you. And you either need the access code that came with your textbook or You could buy an access code on the at the bookstore here on campus as a standalone product, or you can pay with a credit card or a PayPal account if you've got a PayPal account. And then click on this link, register now. And in this right here, in that field, go ahead and paste in that course ID. And this is your course. There I am. Now, if you've ever used my math lab before, my stat lab, or my bio lab, or my psych lab, or accounting lab, or any other Pearson-based my lab sort of product, then go ahead and use your same username and password that you have already. There's no need for you to create or establish a new account. And if you've forgotten that login information, go and click on this one. It'll get the system will send an email to your email account. Otherwise, if you've never used Pearson before, then go ahead and click on Create. And you'll create an account. Go ahead and put your DMAC email here. Come up with a username, password, your first name, the same name as your DMAC registration, same thing with the last name. You could pick a security question. In fact, you'll be required to come up with this, or choose a security question and then answer. And after you put all that information in, you need to read through all this stuff regarding rights and responsibilities. Click on I accept the license agreement, and then you'll click on create an account. So either way, you sign in with your already established username and password, or you create an account. And then after this page, when you click on create account, then it'll ask you, by the way, how would you like to pay for your registration? Well, it's going to ask you, do you have an access code? If you have an access code, then you click yes, I have an access code. And then it'll give you the ability to populate some fields with your access code characters. But if you don't have an access code, then you'll have the ability to input your credit card number or a PayPal account information. Okay. And then you should be set. Now I'm going to jump out of this. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And show you kind of what it looks like. At least from my perspective. Your perspective will be similar. Go ahead and click. Oh, so there's 9 of you that have signed up already. Interesting. Oh, by the way, temporary access. If you don't have money right now to pay for this, and you're waiting for your student loan or financial aid to kick in, you can, when you go back to the syllabus here, you'll see that you have the ability for temporary. Well, when you go through the setup process at my math lab during the registration process, you'll see an option to sign up with temporary access. So you click on that. You got 14 days. And then after that, you'll be able to go in once you get your school money and put in your credit card, your access code, or whatever. Anyway, go ahead and click the link for the course. Or, sorry, that was the wrong one. Sorry. Let's go back. We are taking statistics, so go ahead and click on the statistics. All right. So you click here to do your homework. I haven't posted anything yet for homework, but I will. But I'll post an orientation, and I'll post your first homework, which I think is section 1.2. That should be available later today. Okay. Quizzes and tests. I'll post those as end of chapter quizzes. If you want to take these are fine. They don't count for or against your grade. These are just useful for your own study. Study plan is a great way of getting there and doing some problems to help you get ready for the homework if you need some extra help. On your grade book, you'll get a chance to see the scores that you've done or that you've managed to get for all the work that you've done already. StatCrunch. I'll show you StatCrunch later, but it's free software for analyzing your data. Chapter contents, you'll have access to student solution manual, typically the odd numbered problems from the textbook, which don't try to use it to help you with your online homework, by the way. And also for all the different chapters, when you click on a section, you have access to videos, multimedia text. Go ahead and click on the multimedia e-text. Probably should make sure that you've got up-to-date software on your computer. Now my screen is pretty small, so I can't show you what the far right edge looks like. But you should have the ability to scroll up and down. Here's my hand grabber. So, and you can navigate going forward or backwards. Arrow, hand, highlight. You can highlight, you can make notes, etc. So anyway, go ahead and take a look. By the way, there are videos, animations, etc. embedded in there. Take advantage of those if you would like. And also here's navigation for your e-text over here on the left hand side. Okay. So that's it for my stat lab. Going back to the syllabus here. So that's homework, quizzes. You'll see quizzes. I'm sorry, this is a syllabus that I borrowed from last year. And last year I did electronic quizzes embedded in Blackboard. The technology was pretty sketchy in that a lot of students had problems with that. So I'm going to do quizzes actually in my my stat lab instead of Blackboard, okay? So go ahead and make that quiz. And when I post the first quiz, I'll show you what that looks like, okay? But those quizzes together will make up 1/4 of your grade. And then proctored exams for the midterm and the final exam. Now, when I tell you that it's during a week, when you need to take your test, that's basically I'm giving you a 1-week window to get over to your proctor site and take your test. Now, there's some flexibility with the midterm, but for the final exam, if you don't take your test by July 28th, then I cannot guarantee that I'll be able to get your grades posted on time. So you'll need to make sure that you take your test kind of on the front part of that window that I give you. Especially if your proctor sends me your completed test by snail mail because it takes a few days. Now let's talk real quick about proctoring. Now what I mean by proctoring is that you go somewhere like a library or a high school testing center or whatever for those students who live outside of about a 50-mile radius. In fact, you can kind of read my little explanation here about proctoring right down here. Now, if you live within about 50 miles, now I'm not going to force that. You have to decide that for yourself. But if you are not within a reasonable driving distance of any DMAC campus, then you need to find a place that will do the proctoring for you. Now, let me actually pull up that proctoring form. Sorry. And so I can show you what it is. I emailed this proctoring form out. Some people are still asking me questions, so it deserves some more explanation. Now, for those people who will not be taking their test at a DMAC testing center, then you need a proctor. And here's the do's and don'ts of proctors, right? Proctors must be at least 21. They must be some sort of business or professional enterprise, right? And the email that they use cannot be a personal email. It needs to be a business-oriented email. Like, for example, at a school or a library or some government agency. So if you are in the military, then your military proctor will use a military email, whatever. All exams will be given at that place of business. That proctor should be able to observe you at all times during the test. Okay, and so forth. They need to check your ID before you sitting down. They need to make sure that you're not using any unauthorized material and so forth. Now, who can proctor for you? Well, if you look down this column right here, any of these people are okay. If any of you are in the military, then you need to make sure that the person who proctors you ideally would be a commissioned officer. But certainly someone who's at least a non-commissioned officer and outranks you. And you're not friends with that person. Otherwise, any of these other individuals are fine. So if you work in, say, a doctor's office or a clinic, well, one of the doctors, even a physician assistant would probably be fine. But someone who is well educated and kind of in a position of authority can proctor your test for you. Now, these individuals right here should not be your proctor. Okay? I'll just leave it at that. Over here, where can you take your test? What are acceptable proctor sites? Well, any of these right here. But not at someone's house. Not at the coffee shop. Or anything like that. It needs to be at some sort of official place of business. Okay? Now, provided that you found an acceptable proctor and proctor site, then you'll fill out your name as a student and the course enrolled, MAT 157, WW7, Statistics, term, summer 2014. And then your proctor or someone who works at that proctoring center, testing center, library, clinic, or whatever, that person will put their name there, their title, what position that they hold there, name of the organization there, organization's address, that person's work phone and or cell phone here, fax number if they're going to be faxing, if we're going to be doing faxing back and forth, which in this day and age is pretty much passe, but hey, it still helps. Or it could be useful. I've got a fax machine down at the other end of the building. Business email, not a Yahoo, MSN, Gmail, or whatever, but that organization's email address. So, so for example, this person right here has the proctor's name. Well, that person's business email address will go right down here. Yes or no here. If no, then where will the test be given? And then the proctor will read this, sign, date, print it off, email it after being scanned, which is what I prefer. But that person can fax it to this phone number or snail mail it to me here. Here's my address. One of those three ways. Now, what I'll ask you is if that proctor is going to fax it to me, just let me know so I can look for it. Because again, the fax machine is over on the other side of the building, and I don't monitor it unless I know that something's coming down. Okay, so you'll have 2 proctored exams. Now, please don't procrastinate in getting a proctor figured out. You need to be working on that ASAP, as soon as possible. When I taught this very same class last summer, most of the students had their proctor thing figured out within the first couple weeks, but there were some students who waited for some reason until the last minute, until the midterm exam came. And it was very stressful for everyone involved. So please be diligent about getting this proctor thing figured out, okay? So the rest of this stuff is more oriented for face-to-face courses. Real quick about late assignments. If for some reason, something happened in your life and that you are not able to keep up with the homework, for example, if you were in the hospital for a while, or I don't know some issue, you don't need to email me. You don't need to let me know, because the outcome's not going to change. Just understand though that any homework problems done after the due date, you could still do. You'll just have a 50% penalty, meaning you'll get 50% of the credit that you would have if it weren't late. Okay, but that's only for problems done, not assignments, but for problems done after the due date. Study expectations. Again, be diligent. Make sure that you stay on top of it. I always caution people, if this is your first time taking an online class, especially a math class, it's so easy to let a couple days slide and then try to get it all done. For example, some students who work a lot and they dedicate, say, a Sunday to getting everything done. Well, I'm going to caution you against doing that, because there's quite a bit of work you're expected to do about, between watching the videos, reading the book, and doing the homework, 10 to 20 hours per week. All right, this is not an easy class. So make sure that you are spending 4, 5, 6 days a week doing some homework and doing some reading. Okay? Please don't say that you haven't been warned. Now, how much time that you spend depends on, your background, your preparation, your ability to read and comprehend. Okay? All right, moving along here. Academic dishonesty / plagiarism. This, for this course, it really comes down to this. If you have someone log in to do your MyStat Lab homework and quizzes, I'm not going to know it, but it'll be reflected probably on your proctored exams. Okay, and if I do catch wind that someone is having someone else do their work for them, I will turn that matter over to the individual cited here. I'll probably go straight to my dean first and explain to him what happened. All right, enough said about that. And, again, appealing to your more rational side, if someone chooses to cheat now, what's to prevent them from, say, cheating later on in higher levels? And, if you get caught cheating, you get kicked out of DMAC, you probably won't be able to get to get enrolled in any other school here in Iowa, at least not for a while. So I wouldn't risk it if I were you. Besides, you won't be able to learn the material and pass the exams. All right, so enough about that. Ad drop date, it actually should be July 1st. Ad drop date, July 1st. Okay, so meaning that's the last day for you to decide to drop without it counting against you on your transcript. Because if something happens in your life after July 1st, like for example, if you get really sick or something comes up like a family member died and you have to take care of them after July 1st, then and you get so far behind we could talk about an incomplete. Otherwise, you'll have to take the F and then retake the class later. Okay, we'll talk about that individually if you have any questions about that. All right. If you have a documented disability, then in order for me to grant you time and a half or 2 hours or twice the time, I should say, or note taking or anything else, that shouldn't be an issue for this course. The only accommodation that I would have to, or I should be able to give you here, is just extended time for testing. I would need to see the paperwork from the disabilities office. So here's some information. Just a caveat here. I've come to find out that this individual, Holly Kuhn, is no longer with us. But if you call this phone number right here, this will get you to the right office, and you can tell them that you need a accommodation for your disability, and they'll generate your paperwork for you to present to me. Here's the non-discrimination policy here. Move it along here. And that is it. Now, I told you that I use Blackboard. Now, Blackboard is what we use instead of a website. Now, how to get to Blackboard, okay? So you'll go to the DMAC website. So there's the DMAC homepage. Then go over here to log in. Then click on Access Online Courses. And then your username and password will be the same as for webmail or any other access for the DMAC network. And then we'll go ahead and look for this class, which will be this one right here. So click on the right link for this class. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have a whole lot here because the semester is just starting, but as the semester goes by, I will be adding more and more stuff. Now, this front page right here is announcement, so as the semester goes on, like for example, there's an exam or any changes to the syllabus or anything, I'll go ahead and post those to announcements. And an email will be generated and sent to your DMAC email. Under the link for syllabus, guess what's there? It's the syllabus for the course. It's just a PDF. So if you click on that, the syllabus will pop up. And then here, for your instructor, that's me. So there's my office here in Building 4, Room 10B, Ankeny campus, my office telephone number. If you call it and I'm not there, just leave a voicemail. Here's my DMAC email address, and there's a picture of me as of almost 3 years ago. I went on a kick to grow my hair out. Now, as you can see here, I wear my hair pretty short, but for a while there I was trying to let my hair grow out. I had this idea of letting my hair get all frizzy and outgrown like Einstein's, but I couldn't stand it, so besides during the hot summer I like nice short hair. And then the big thing right here is course content. That's the big link that you're gonna go to every time. Now, there's a folder for PowerPoint slides. I don't have anything in there, but this next couple weeks or so, I'll be putting more and more PowerPoints in there for you to download. What a lot of students like to do is print off the PowerPoints, and then when they watch the lecture, they can make notes right on those printed PowerPoint slides, if you so choose. But so keep an eye out for that in the upcoming days and weeks to come, because I'll be loading up those PowerPoints for the course. Now, regarding this folder right here, exams and solutions, what's going to go in there is just when we take our midterm exam, after I get everyone's exams back, I'll put the solutions there. I've been known to come up with practice exams, and if I make a practice exam for this class, I'll put it there in that folder as well as the worked out solutions. Under notes, when I give the presentation for lecture, I will sometimes get out a PowerPoint and open up a journal worksheet and work out a problem or something. And in the case that I do that, I save it as a PDF and put it on notes. Also, for these videos that I'm doing, after I render them, I'm going to put them in the folder. The folder is going to be called, video presentation, or actually recorded lectures. Recorded lecture. Sorry, fat fingers. Okay. Yeah, I'll put the video there, and I'll also be posting videos to YouTube. Just every time I post a new video, you'll get an email from me anyway. So you can either look in this folder, or you can click on the link for YouTube. Okay. As we go through the semester, I'll be posting some grades which you can access here, as in scores for things like exams. You won't see a whole lot there anyway as we go through the course, though, because guess what? All the homework scores in my stat lab, as well as your quiz scores, are not going to be transferred over here to Blackboard automatically. I'm going to do that 2 times. Once at midterm, when I figure your midterm grade, and also at the end of the semester. So you'll see your midterm homework and quiz scores, you'll see your midterm exam score, you'll see your midterm grades there, all around midterm, right? And then same thing for final exam scores, final quiz, final homework, and your final grades. So you won't see anything posted under my grades for several weeks until about midterm. Okay? Please, please, please do not ask me what grade you are getting in the course, especially just before the final exam. All right? You have the ability to figure that yourself. But the reason people ask that is because they're feeling nervous. So I would tell you just do the absolute value, or sorry, the absolute best that you can in everything that you do, including homework and those quizzes. And make sure that you're spending an appropriate amount of time reading out of the textbook. Okay, everything that you need to know for the course is here in this textbook. So make it a habit of reading this, okay? So please let me know if you have any questions, concerns, issues about anything. Some people have had issues with access codes from my stat lab, for example. Please send them my way, and I've got someone with Pearson who can help you. She's been doing a very good job the last few days in helping students get their access code issues taken care of. So please don't hesitate. Let's get you make sure that you get to the bookstore or wherever and get your textbook if you want to get one. Otherwise, get registered with my stat lab as soon as possible. And I'll be posting the homework here pretty soon. And when I do that, I'll let you know. Okay, so everybody, I look forward to working with you this summer. And I will now stop. And this is probably the longest video that we'll have through the entire semester, okay? So goodbye, and I'll see you tomorrow.